If you have annoying monthly or even bi-monthly period pain, this video is for you. I'm going to give you 5 tips to get rid of period cramps within even just a few short cycles. If you have not hit the subscribe button yet, go ahead and hit that button to be notified anytime I post new content relating to women's health, hormones, or holistic health. Guys, period cramps are another huge thing that people come to my practice for. They're sick of being doubled over and just sick of dealing with that annoying pain every single month. It's uncomfortable, it impedes our quality of life, and a lot of women are over it, and I don't blame them. So I've helped so many people with these exact strategies I'm going to give you today. This is not medical advice, so please work with a provider to make sure that your cramps are just run-of-the-mill and that these options are good for you. Okay guys, so normal run-of-the-mill period pain or even ovulation pain, a lot of women will experience cramping during that time period as well, is, a few days of cramping, usually responds to pain medication. Maybe you have to take it a couple times, but nothing that's like super severe. There are other severe types of period cramps, endometriosis, adenomyosis. These things are way more severe than your run-of-the-mill period cramps and need some special considerations. We can definitely help women with endometriosis and adenomyosis for sure, but these things may not be quite enough for them. As our uterine lining starts to break down before our period, it releases something called prostaglandins. Prostaglandins are little inflammatory molecules that are produced, like I said, when our uterine lining breaks down. And we all have them, but sometimes we produce a few too many, and that is what can produce period pain to varying degrees. So basically what we're talking about here is too many prostaglandins, little molecules that cause this pain. And we want to figure out different ways to reduce them so that our periods are painless, symptomless, and just a flow. And I just want to remind you guys of that periods are not supposed to be this massive pain in the butt. They shouldn't be really symptomatic, noticing, 2 weeks of the month are horrible, you're spotting, your breasts are tender, you're irritable, you're crampy, you're bloated, you're super hungry. We should be a little more hungry before our period, but not to the extent that some women are, having really heavy flows, having big clots. These things are all abnormalities and things that we should correct by looking at various things, from fibroid system polyps to thyroid to mineral balances to hormones to all of these different things. So I just wanted to give you a quick caveat there that none of this stuff is actually normal, and a flow should be, or a cycle actually should be, very much less about symptoms and very much more about just leaning into getting a flow once a month. If you have had success reducing period cramps, I would love to know what you've done in the comments below. Share with us. I'm sure there's lots of women out there who could learn from you as well. Number one thing I recommend to eliminate period cramps is to reduce cow's dairy. I am a very moderate person and really hate eliminating anything for most people, but I've seen this personally help for me, and I've seen it help with lots and lots of different patients over the years. We know that there is something called A1 casein protein in cow's milk, so this is not the same as in sheep or goat's milk. In cow's milk, there's something called A1 casein protein that's super inflammatory for a lot of people. It's not inflammatory for everybody, but if you're having bad period cramps and a couple other symptoms that I'll share with you in a second, it's definitely worth trying this for a couple months. This A1 casein stimulates our immune system to produce more inflammatory cytokines, which actually depletes our glutathione numbers, which is like a master antioxidant. Antioxidants are basically like big trash keepers. So on the Dutch test, we actually look at your level of glutathione amongst cortisol, progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, DHEA, melatonin, B vitamins, a bunch of other things. But we want good amounts, copious amounts of glutathione in our body to protect us against disease, but also inflammation as well. The good news here is, like I said, this doesn't happen to everybody. Not everybody is just extremely sensitive to dairy or this A1 casein protein. But if you have a history of things like allergies, sinusitis, tonsillitis, even as a kid, frequent ear infections as a child or as an adult, hay fever, like any of these histamine type of things or allergy, ear, nose, and throat type of symptoms, there is a good correlation between your estrogen, your pain in your period, and your histamine or your allergy symptoms. It's interesting because estrogen also increases histamine. So a lot of people might notice if they really pay attention that their allergies actually get a little bit worse right before their period when estrogen is at its highest. And so allergies, like I said, may be worse around ovulation or your period when estrogen's also high. So histamine in itself will increase inflammation, which then increases that prostaglandin and then increases period pain. So basically what we're talking about is increased estrogen increases histamine, increases inflammation, increases period pain. So we want to just kind of notice if you're somebody who's struggled kind of with both of these things, your period pain may have gotten worse lately and you've had a history of allergies or ENT stuff, there might be this connection for you, and it's definitely worth probably eliminating cow's dairy for, I would try 2 to 3 cycles, 60 to 90 days, and see how your periods respond to that. Okay, number 2 is magnesium. You guys, magnesium relaxes the uterus and reduces prostaglandins. Magnesium is an intracellular mineral, which means that 99% of it is in the cells. So a lot of us will get like magnesium tested in the blood. Not really a great marker because it's mostly in the cell, and that is only testing what's in our bloodstream. If you get a magnesium RBC, that's a little bit better, but I prefer using the hair tissue mineral analysis for it because it looks at what's in your cell. So anyways, magnesium is super helpful for 3,000 different reactions in our body, super helpful for so many different things, and it's the first mineral to be depleted under stress, which really none of us have had any shortage of stress over the last several years at least. There's several different forms of magnesium that you can do. You can try a topical magnesium, you can try an Epsom salt bath regularly, or you can take it internally through like capsules. And even the internal capsules have a lot of different forms. So I prefer one that's magnesium glycinate. It crosses your blood-brain barrier, which means it gets into your cells. It reduces prostaglandins and really helps a lot of the things that magnesium is supposed to help with. A lot of people over the counter will take like a mag citrate, which pretty much solely gets absorbed by your large intestine and helps have a bowel movement. May make you feel a little bit more relaxed, but it's not really going to improve the magnesium status in your cell. And so because magnesium is depleted by stress, we really want to take magnesium all month long to improve period cramps. You don't just want to take it like you would a pain medication or something like that. You want to take it throughout the month. Okay, number 3 is turmeric. So turmeric is also known as curcumin, and it's a spice that people can cook with, but you can also take it in a tea. They have turmeric kombucha, they have capsules of turmeric, they have so many different options with this, but turmeric reduces prostaglandins. I will tell you this, in my opinion, turmeric does not work super fast, so it's worth taking turmeric kind of like magnesium all month long, consistently getting that turmeric in there to also help reduce inflammation and some of those inflammatory molecules like cytokines and then prostaglandins as well. So find a form that you enjoy using that you can be consistent with. Like I said, capsules, powders, teas, there's all kinds of different options, and just be consistent with it. Number 4 is rebalance minerals. So you may have noticed a theme. I'm constantly talking about minerals because minerals are just like spark plugs for every single metabolic process in our body. So everything our body does is minerals are responsible for fueling that sort of activity. Rebalancing your minerals is always helpful for producing the right amount of progesterone and the right amount of estrogen and detoxing well and ovulating well. So all of these different things. So I like to rebalance minerals by taking beef liver. I know it sounds disgusting, but I promise it's not gross. If you just take it in a capsule, you absolutely can eat beef liver. You can freeze it and kind of dice it up and put it in smoothies. A lot of people do that. I personally take it as a capsule. Again, not medical advice. Beef liver is really nutrient dense and has a lot of wonderful nutrients to help support your period and your endocrine system. So it has like vitamin E that looks like progesterone in your body, has vitamin A in the form of retinol, it has zinc, selenium. Zinc is really helpful for anti-inflammation as well. It has iodine in there. It has so many different great things, B vitamins to help your body detox estrogen and metabolize it better. So I really love to take beef liver as just kind of like a multivitamin. You don't want to take beef liver and a multivitamin because that would be too nutrient dense for your system. And you can overdose on the fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Again, not medical advice. Please make sure this is going to work for you and it's fine with everything you're taking, but I do like to take beef liver. Okay guys, and number 5 is loving on your liver. So I always give this example. In Chinese medicine, we say that there's like stagnation, and it kind of makes sense if you think about cramping. Once you kind of get flowing for a little while, some people immediately once they start flowing, other people once their flow kind of continues for a day or two, their period cramps go away. The liver is responsible for detoxing your estrogen and all of the used hormones and all the toxins, everything that we're exposed to. So you really want to make sure that your liver is moving well, it's metabolizing everything really well and not causing like a traffic jam. So a lot of times symptoms like breast tenderness and irritability and stress and bloating and gas and some of these different PMS symptoms can actually be due to kind of a sluggish liver. So different things that help your liver, there's a myriad of different things to help your liver, but things like dandelion root tea, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, those types of things are really helpful. Something called sulforaphane, which is actually a constituent ingredient in broccoli, but you also can take that. It's like broccoli sprouts is a good one. So you can eat about a half a cup of broccoli sprouts a day to get adequate amounts of sulforaphane. You can take something called NAC or N-acetylcysteine. You can take something called DIM, which is also in cruciferous vegetables and helps your body to lower your estrogen level. I want to give you the caveat, you guys, with this. You really want to know what's going on. You don't just want to start using DIM if you don't know if your estrogen level is actually too high. I have a lot of people come to me that have been taking DIM for a long time and their estrogen level is not high, and it actually can make things worse. So when you're using supplements and herbs and things like that, you really do want to know that these are the right things for you. Don't just blindly take them. Calcium D-glucarate is another one that's super helpful for lowering your estrogen level and just kind of rebalancing your hormones out. But again, you don't just want to blindly do that. You would probably want some hormone testing, at least work with somebody who is qualified to give you recommendations on these types of things. If you take herbs and vitamins and supplements and different things, out of good nature, we're trying to make things better, but unfortunately for some people, what you're taking could actually make things worse based on your own body and what's actually going on. So the best thing is to get an adequate diagnosis, do some hormone testing, things like that, so that you actually know what you're working on. But like I said, the first few of these things are just things that everyone really should work on. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. Please share this with family and friends if you feel like it'd be helpful for them. If you try some of these things for the next couple months, I would love to know about it. You do have to be consistent, you guys. That's one of the biggest myths, I think, and hard things about working with hormones in our periods is this can take 2 to 3 cycles to really see differences for. So make sure that you're giving it that adequate amount of time. Don't just do this for, a month or 15 days before your cycle and be like, oh, it didn't work, because that's just not quite long enough. Be consistent with it. Kind of take a little log of your cycle every month and see, is it getting better? Is it not? The first cycle, you may not notice improvement yet, but by the second, you probably should notice something. So it may not be perfect, but hopefully you'll notice some improvement. I hope this was helpful. And like I mentioned in a different video, I have a Wellevate account, which is an online dispensary where you can purchase some of these different things I'm talking about. You guys get 15% off. I will leave the link in the description for you guys. Just make an account and you are good to go.